Turn the volume up.
Yeah.
This that blueprint talk.
DJ, you wanna fade him.
The Dream Hustle Podcast. Let's walk.
Clock hit midnight, I'm still wide-eyed, wide vision on the whiteboard, whole wall map like a Y. Turn every one day to a date and a budget. Faith in my spirit, but the numbers still crunch quick. Ownership, heavy name on the deed, not guessless. Equity, leverage, cool head, never desperate. No cosign, savior, just God in the game plan. Purpose in the struggle, made a kingdom from the same sand. Late nights, low lights, screen glow on my face. Old fears, new skills, real growth, same pace. Discipline daily, even when the vibe feels off. I don't wait for a feeling, I just show up and push off.
We turn dreams into plans, that's the move right now. The Dream Hustle Podcast, whole crew locked down. From the grind till the crown in hand. Save vision, faith, hustle, let it run through the fan. We turn dreams into plans, that's the move right now. The Dream Hustle Podcast, that's the movement now. If you're locked in the lab, if you're stacking your bands. Save vision, faith, hustle till it's part of your stance.
Indie on the payroll, boss on the bio. Every stream, every sale, got receipts in the file. Studios in the basements, turn the boardrooms quiet. Where ideas go from maybe to bet. Let's try it. Lessons from the losses, wore the L's like armor. Did the math on my habits, cut the ones that harm. The smart hustle, sharp hustle, every move with a purpose. If it don't build a mission, then the time ain't worth it. I pray, then I scheduled, I work, then I measure. Let the metrics keep me honest, let the process be the treasure. It's bigger than a slogan, bigger than the brand. This the Dream Hustle Podcast, whole world understands.
We turn dreams into plans, that's the move right now. The Dream Hustle Pod, this whole crew locked down. From the grind to the crown in hand. Save vision, faith, hustle, let it run through the fan. We turn dreams into plans, that's the move right now. The Dream Hustle Podcast, that's a movement now. If you're locked in the lab, if you're stacking your band. Save vision, faith, hustle till it's part of your stance.
Hey. Late nights, early flights, late fly, same fight, same high. Feel like we just move right. For every indie in the trenches, every owner in the making. The Dream Hustle Podcast, this the anthem for your patience.
We turn dreams into plans, that's the move right now. The Dream Hustle Podcast, whole crew locked down. From the grind till the crown in hand. Save vision, faith, hustle, let it run through the fan. Save vision, faith, hustle, let it run through the fan.
Yo, peace. What's good, Dream Hustlers? It's your man, DJ Universe. Today, I want to take you back to a moment in time that changed everything. But to do that, we got to talk about a name that doesn't get spoken nearly enough in the mainstream. We're giving flowers to a true architect, a pioneer, a foundation stone of this culture. A man whose influence helped build hip-hop before most of the world even knew what hip-hop was. I'm talking about Grandmaster Caz. Now, some of y'all know the name and some of y'all might not, but if you're serious about hip-hop history, if you're serious about understanding this culture, then you need to know who Grandmaster Caz is. Because before Ghostwriters became a controversial topic on social media, before the writing camps, before the major label songwriting credits, and long before the platinum plaques, there was Grandmaster Caz. And many people consider him the very first famous ghostwriter in hip-hop history. He was the genius mind behind one of the most recognizable, most repeated verses ever recorded in human history. A verse that literally changed the global music landscape forever. A verse delivered by Big Bank Hank on the legendary 1979 track Rapper's Delight by the Sugarhill Gang. But here's the twist, Hank didn't write it. Grandmaster Caz did. And that story contains a massive, critical lesson that every single artist, creator, and entrepreneur listening to this needs to hear. When I first learned about this story, it hit me deep. See, I grew up in Ohio dreaming of the music industry before I knew anything about how the actual business worked. I was just a kid in the Midwest, looking at the bright lights of New York and Atlanta and LA, thinking that all you needed was the talent, the drive, and a dope song. I didn't know about publishing, mechanical royalties, or master rights. I just knew the feeling the music gave me. But as I got older and got my hands dirty in this game, I realized there's a razor-thin line between having legendary talent and actually having commercial ownership. You can be the absolute best at your craft, the absolute sharpest lyricist on the block, but if you don't own the paper, you don't own the power. That's the blueprint we're dissecting today. Let's travel back in time. We're talking late 1970s. Hip-hop wasn't an industry yet. There were no streaming platforms, no social media, no major record labels chasing after teenage rappers in the Bronx. Hip-hop lived in parks, community centers, block parties, and concrete basketball courts. You plugged your sound system into the streetlights, and that was your stage. And one of the absolute kings of that era was Grandmaster Caz, performing with the legendary Cold Crush Brothers. He was known throughout New York City as one of the sharpest, most competitive lyricists alive. Now, according to the widely told history, Big Bank Hank, who was managing another group at the time, got spotted by Sylvia Robinson of Sugarhill Records. She heard him rapping along to a cassette tape of Grandmaster Caz. So Hank goes to Caz and basically asks to borrow some lyrics to get this recording gig. Caz, thinking it's just a quick little hustle and not realizing what this new thing called a record deal really meant, hands over his notebook. He literally handed over his handwritten rhymes. Hank goes into the studio and records those exact lyrics. He even spells out Caz's nickname in the song, Casanova, and the Fly Girls love the way I spin. Hank was rapping Caz's own name, Casanova Fly, on the track because he didn't even change the words. The record exploded. Rapper's Delight became a global, cultural phenomenon. It was hip-hop's very first mainstream commercial hit, introducing rap music to millions of people who had never heard of the Bronx. But the heavy, cold irony, one of its most famous history-making verses, belonged to somebody else who didn't get a dime of the publishing or a single credit on the original release. And while history always remembers the song, many people completely forget the writer behind the curtain. That's why we're giving Grandmaster Caz his flowers today, because the architects who laid the foundation deserve the recognition. But more than that, his story teaches us the ultimate cold truth of the music business. Talent alone is not enough. Let me say that again for the people in the back. Talent alone is not enough. You can be the most gifted person in the room. You can have the greatest idea, the hottest melody, the best business concept, the strongest personal brand. But if you don't understand ownership, if you don't understand documentation, contracts, publishing split sheets, and intellectual property, you may end up building a beautiful empire that somebody else profits from. Today's independent artist must get educated. Your music isn't just a vibe, it's intellectual property. Your lyrics, your beats, your brand, they are financial assets. This hits so close to home for me because of my own journey. Like I said, I started out in Ohio, but I knew that if I wanted to make my dreams a reality, I had to take a massive leap of faith. So I packed up everything I owned and moved down to Florida. I started completely from scratch. No connections, no safety net, no rich uncle funding my studio time. Just a burning desire and a willingness to work harder than anyone else. I had to learn every single aspect of this game the hard way. I didn't just want to be the guy holding the mic. I wanted to understand how the sound wave gets captured, so I taught myself audio engineering. I wanted to understand how the track gets built, so I became a producer. I wanted to understand how the business runs, how artists actually make money, so I got into artist management and entrepreneurship. What I respect so deeply about Grandmaster Caz and that entire pioneer generation is that they represented the pure essence of hip-hop. Building before building was cool. Back then, there were no shortcuts. There were no algorithms to manipulate, no fake followers you could buy, No social media hacks to make you look famous overnight. It was just raw skill, relentless practice, dedication, and true mastery of the craft. You couldn't buy respect in the park. You had to earn it. You had to battle for it. You had to develop your craft for years just to get a turn on the microphone. And that's a massive lesson for today's independent artists. Everybody wants the immediate results, but very few people want to go through the grueling process. Everybody wants millions of streams on Spotify, but do they want to spend years mastering the art of songwriting? Everybody wants a massive, loyal fan base, but do they want to spend the time building a real community, one person at a time? Greatness begins with mastery, and mastery takes time. Now let's connect the dots, because every single episode of the Dream Hustle podcast is ultimately about legacy. If Grandmaster Caz represents the pure, brilliant act of creation, then the late, great Nipsey Hussle represents the ultimate power of modern ownership. And this new generation represents the ultimate opportunity. Caz showed us how to create something incredibly valuable from nothing but thin air and a microphone. Nipsey showed us why we must own that valuable creation, buy back our blocks, and control our master recordings. And today, you have the historic opportunity to do both. You can create, you can own, you can monetize, you can scale, and you can build an independent empire. That's why I constantly tell the artists I work with, stop thinking like a rapper and start thinking like a CEO. The song you write isn't just a song. It's the product. You, the artist, are not just a performer. You are the brand. Your business infrastructure is the machine, and complete ownership of your intellectual property is the ultimate destination. When you shift your mindset from creative to business owner, everything changes. You stop looking for a handout and you start looking for leverage. You stop looking for a major label to save you, and you start building your own direct-to-consumer pipeline. Because building a real, authentic community that you directly own access to and owning the master rights to your music is the only true path to financial freedom and generational wealth in this industry. The beautiful thing about the era we are living in right now is that you have opportunities that the pioneers of hip-hop could only dream of. Grandmaster Caz didn't have Spotify. He didn't have YouTube, TikTok, digital distribution platforms, or AI marketing tools. He didn't have a website or direct access to a global fan base at the click of a button, but you do. That's why the excuses don't work anymore. If you're sitting on your talent, waiting for some mystical executive to discover you and make you famous, you are living in the wrong decade. Today's independent artist can build a global audience, sell merchandise directly to fans, license their music to television and film, launch their own podcasts, start their own media networks, and generate multiple streams of recurring revenue. The barriers to entry are lower than they have ever been in human history, but because the barriers are low, the noise is louder than ever, and standing out still requires extreme discipline, deep business knowledge, consistency, and an unshakable belief in your vision. So, dream hustlers, let's give the ultimate flowers to Grandmaster Caz, a pioneer, a lyricist, an architect, and a foundational figure whose contributions shaped the global culture we live and breathe today. His story is a powerful reminder that talent is an incredible gift, but ownership is true freedom. Creation is beautiful, but protection of that creation is essential. And dreams only become reality when real knowledge meets massive, structured action. If you are an independent artist, producer, or creator trying to build your own legacy, trying to secure your masters, scale your personal brand, and turn your creative passion into a highly profitable business, I want you to take the absolute next step today. Head over right now to downbylawmanagementllc.com. Download the free Independent Artist Blueprint. This is the exact map you need to position yourself as a business, a brand, and an owner. Once you download it, schedule a consultation with me, DJ Universe. Let's look at your business structure, build your vision, and create a legacy that lasts far beyond your lifetime. Dream big, hustle hard, and own everything. Teamwork makes the dream work, and hustle is the muscle that moves mountains. So on that note, until the next episode, gratitude, blessings, and one love. Peace.
Here's DJU. Walk in the room, that's proof. Blueprint tucked in the suit. Turn every bar to a business move. Down by law management, say it with respect. Name on the paperwork, name on the check. Ownership talks, I don't flex on credit. Put my people in position, then I go let them set it. We don't chase cosigns, we sign our own. Turn a mixtape dream to a bossed up home. From the basement grind to the boardroom seats. Got a LLC for the legacy, not just tweets. This that on your masters, this that on your mind. We building brands for the long run, not just a quick shine. Down by law, we stand on it. Heavy on the code, keep our hands honest. Independent, but the power feel enormous. Strategy and honor, that's the real performance. Down by law management, write it in stone. We don't rent respect, we buy back the throne. For the culture, for the fan, for the ones who believe. This is CEO anthem, we were born to lead. Let's go. I see a hungry artist, I see a future boss. Teach them equity and leverage, how to price they call. Show them how to make a catalog. Move like stock, make the merch feel rare, make the logo talk. Brand on point from the rollout plan to the drop date, timing to the core date. One fans, we break bread fair. Loyal to the soil, never snake the circle, keep the contracts loyal. I'm talking late night calls, early AM flights. Turn pain into product, turn struggle into rights. Got lawyers on the line, got mentors in the room. If they try to play the culture, we return with you. We stand on it, heavy on the code, keep our hands on it. Independent, but the power feel enormous. Strategy and honor, that's the real performance. Down by law management, write it in stone. We don't rent respect, we buy back the throne. For the culture, for the fam, for the ones who believe. This is CEO anthem, we were born to lead. Who taught you how to read that deal? Who told you that your art worth real? Who showed you that your face could be a seal on a company you built? That's generational still. We ain't just chasing charts, we chasing freedom. Turn every last fan to a kingdom, we lead them. Down by law, that's the code, that's the creed. We don't just win alone, we make leaders succeed. Down by law, we stand on it. Heavy on the code, keep our hands on it. Stand tall. Watch the story unfold. For the culture, for the fam, for the ones who believe. This is CEO anthem, we were born to lead.